and then just calling upon one variable. So you don't have a lot of information inside that print line. And that's pretty common when you see coding. It might seem like a lot of work up front, but as far as where you want your output, or when you're coding to find output, you'll find that most programmers or coders will like it as simple as possible on that final output line or whatever you're asking for your program to return. They want that to be as simple as possible, with as little code as possible, and then everything above it does all the work. So you might have a lot of typing and declaring up front, but that way they can take a look at your output line and see it's simple, it's asking you for something straightforward, and it's something that you don't have to sit and try to figure out what it's really outputting because it's a simple code. So we have 2 strings. I'm going to declare one more string. So go ahead and declare one more string. You make sure it starts with an uppercase S. And then you can declare it whatever you want. I might call mine combo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine both of those strings. So this is where that concatenation is, where it's connecting them. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to call upon string 1 and string 2. So I'm going to do S1 plus sign S2. And then don't forget the semicolon. So I'm just going to do a quick little comment behind here, but you don't need to. I'm going to say that this is combining both strings. Okay. So let me recap again. Oops. I do a lot of that. So far my code, I declared the first string called hello class. I declared a second string called today is Tuesday, or declare a second string that has the text today is Tuesday. And then I'm taking another string variable called combo, and I'm combining those 2 strings together. When you are done, let's go ahead now and print it, because right now if we ran this, nothing would spit out. It's because we're declaring things, but we're not actually asking our program to do any output yet. So that's an important thing to remember as well. So I'm going to then print this line. So I'm going to do a system, our good friend system.out.println. And in here, because I've already declared a variable that combines the 2, I can just call upon that variable called combo. And then just make sure you have a semicolon behind that. Now if I run this, do you guys mind if I run a little bit? I run this, I should get hello class, today is Tuesday. Oh, lucky, lucky. I got an error. Something with my line 7. Because I forgot a T. See, it's easy to make mistakes. So that was good though, because it told me that it's in line 7 and it couldn't find some type of symbol. So it did not know what print line was. So I needed that T. I'm going to hit run again. And hopefully, there it is. Hello class, today is Tuesday. So you might notice that when you run it, there's no space between your first string and your second string. So there's no space between hello class and today is Tuesday. That's because I did not designate it. you could add a space in there. You could do that right in combo. You do a plus sign, quotation marks, space, quotation marks, and then do another plus sign. And that's basically saying I'm taking that first string, and then I'm adding to that a space, and the space is between the quotation marks, and then I'm adding the other string, and I'm putting it all into a variable called combo, and then I'm calling upon combo to print. And if I run that, hopefully I get no errors. Oops, and there it is. Hello class, today is Tuesday. So that's a way to show you guys how to combine two string variables, and return an output. And that is called concatenation. And that's mainly the big thing that you're seeing here is using the plus sign to do that, to combine those two strings. It's nothing too difficult, but this will be a great setup for when we have user input or when we have our audience inputting information. So for example, if we had to in the future have two strings and we're asking now for user input, we can then get that information and then do a print line and combine those two strings. Like if we were having somebody input their first and last name, this would be a way to combine them too. So that way it outputs both strings. Questions about this? Probably the most important takeaway is using the plus sign and declaring a string or declaring multiple strings. So that's going to be key. I know it's sometimes hard to remember which things are capitalized and which things aren't, what things are unique to Java, but that's just going to take a lot of practice, or even maybe in your notes highlighting something or circling it just so you can make the difference between what needs to be capitalized and what doesn't. Was everyone able to do that?
I think so. It looked like it.
Okay. Like I said, it's nothing new, but it's just another way of combining things. So like we're going to be working on a very slow pace for the beginning, but this will help us. The next thing we're going to look at, and we can go ahead and just keep adding to this code if you guys don't mind. And this way too, you have it for reference in your work. The next thing we're going to look at, and I'm going to do a comment here. We are going to look at length. So string length. Now you don't need to put this in your comment, but I like to at least know what the next chunk of information is going to be about. So with a string length method, this lets us print the length of the string. So that way we're not taking additional, I guess if you could say additional space in our program. Our computer isn't designated a large piece of information, and it's just going to be straightforward of what that string length is. And so, like I said, right now it's pretty abstract because we're just doing the basics, but this would be great if when we start doing input, we might not know the length of the input. And so whatever that string length is, or however long the string is, your computer program is going to know that length, or be able to output the length in there for how long whatever that string is. So let's go ahead and do this. Can you guys declare a string again? I'm just going to declare it here. Normally we usually declare all our strings at the top, or all our variables at the top, but for this practice we can do declare it in the middle of the code. So name a string. You guys can name it anything you want. In our notes it says, I think, the name, but like I said, you can name it anything you want. unless it turns like bright blue, or if it maybe is something unique to Java, and you'll know when you run it. So I'm going to say string is going to be n. And I'm going to put an equal sign, and I'm going to use my quotation marks, and I'm going to type in some type of, you guys can type in some kind of character, or some type of person, or maybe a small sentence or a small phrase or statement. It's up to you. I am going to type in, let's see, I'm trying to think. Maybe I will type in Hello Kitty. So that's my string, Hello Kitty. Make sure you have a semicolon at the end. Good practice. And now we want to find out how long that string is. Yes, I could sit here and count, but I want my program to do that for me. So I'm going to hit return. And now I'm going to declare an integer. So int. And you can declare it anything you want. I might say L because I'm going to eventually find the length of my string. And because we're talking about length or a value or a number, that's why we have to declare it as an integer. So I'm going to say int L equals, and then I'm going to call upon my string in dot, and then I'm going to use the length method, which is length, open and closing parens, nothing in there, a semicolon. So this is basically saying it's reading in the string n and counting the length. So let's, oops, give some space. So for this, you can now system print our favorite, that out, that print line, everything. And I want to find out what value or what actually is the length of my string. And my string is Hello Kitty. So I'm going to ask my computer or my program to say, hey, print out the value or the true value or length of the string. So I'm going to call upon my integer L. So again, it's saying I'm declaring a string in Hello Kitty, and then I'm declaring an integer called L, and it's basically saying whatever's in the string in, you're going to count it and find out what the length is, like how many characters or spaces or how much space is it taking up. And then it's going to print out the actual value. So let's see how long Hello Kitty is. I'm going to run this. And I'm going to move this up. Sorry. Let me close that. And it says it's 11 characters. You know, maybe you have Hello Kitty is fun. I don't know. You could run it again and it should tell you that how long that string is. And right now it's 18 characters. And that includes the spaces between Hello Kitty is fun. Questions about that one? So this example is a good way to show you how you can combine strings and numbers. So you can combine text or characters with numbers as well. Are we good? Strings are pretty powerful variables, so. Questions, comments, no errors. Good. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down again. And I'm going to make a comment because we're going to look at something called substring. So I'm going to put string, substring. This is a method. Okay, with a substring, it can pick and choose different places in your string. So like let's say we were creating some type of program that only chooses the last 4 digits of your social security number. This is a program where this is a code where you can kind of verify if in fact it's picking the last 4. So it needs to tell your program or your computer what's the last 4 places, or what do we print out? How do we print out those last 4 places of some kind of number or some kind of string? And so this can be used for that. So what we're going to use is, it's called a substring method. I'm going to hit return a little bit so you guys can read it. Let me know if you can't read anything. And in here, guess what? We're going to need to declare another string. So go ahead and do that. Getting a lot of string practice. And then give it a variable name, guys. So anything you want, as long as it's not unique to Java. I'm going to say my dog. And then my string is actually going to have the name of my dog. So my dog's name is Bella. And I'm going to have a semicolon. Okay, so with that, once you have yours declared, let's start using substrings. So we're going to need to declare another string. I'm going to say, let's use S. And then, folks, you also want to notice that if you have multiple declarations of strings or any type of variable, you want to make sure you're not using the same variable name. So I can't use S1, S2, I can't use the word combo, I can't use the letter N, and I can't use the letter L. Once you use it, you're not going to be able to use it again in your code. So just be aware of how you're naming things. And for this string S, I'm going to say that I'm going to call upon my first string, and that's called my dog. And I'm going to find, or I'm going to actually print a substring, a shortened version. So substring. And maybe I want it to start 4 characters in. I only want to print after 4 characters. Kind of weird. We'll do a better example maybe with a social security number or something. But here, I'm going to just do the number 4 and a semicolon. And then I'm going to print it out. So system.out dot print line. And I'm going to call upon that string S. Okay, so this is basically, oh, yeah.
Does it count spaces?
Yes, it does. Yep. Good question. I was just going to get to that. You guys are just on top of it. So yeah, this is what it's going to do is it's going to print S, and S is saying, hey, I'm taking the string called my dog, and I'm going to only count after 4 characters. So it does include the space, and the holding place starts at 0. So like M is actually at a 0 spot, Y is at a 1, the space is at a 2, the D is at a 3, the O is at a 4. So it is important to know, oops, and I'm going to make a comment. It counts spaces and starts at 0. So if I run this, I'm going to run. I'm going to run this. And it starts at O. Og's name is Bella. So it started at the 4th. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and it starts at the 4th index is what they call it. Okay, so let's say maybe I'm just going to change this. You guys can keep it. But let's say I'm going to create a string that has my social security number. So I'm just going to say string is social S. And maybe I only wanted to print out the last 4 digits of my social security number. So I have to have a social security number. I'm making one up here, 111. 980245. So if we had a string with our social security number, and we only wanted to print the last 4 digits, so I only wanted to print 0245, what would the substring be? And then print it out. So I'm going to let you guys do that. I'm going to shut up for a second. And I want it to only print out the last 4 numbers. You could try it with the way it is and see if it does print out the last 4. You may have to tweak. There's nothing wrong with doing some trial and error. Or you can do the calculation yourself. So if I run this, see. Nope. So it looks like it's printing out more than the last 4 digits. So I might have to go back through and say, hey, the first spot is 0, the second spot is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I actually wanted to start printing at the 5th index. So I need to change that 4 to 5. Run. And there you go. Now there's other things that you guys can do. You can actually say, hey, you're going to start printing from this index. Like here we said we're going to print from index 5. And then you might then say, I want it to stop printing at index 7. So you could say substring 5, we're going to start, and then comma, and you could say I'm going to end at the 7 index, and it should print out, if I run this, 0 and 2. Odds are you're not going to have to do that or have 2 substrings or have to have it start and stop. But I just want to show you that you can do that. So it would start at 0, it would print out 2, and then it stops at the 7th index, meaning it stops right before the number 4.
What is going on over here? Open this out. Where?
How we doing? Yeah.
No. She wants to know if you can go back up a little.
Yeah. Yep. To length, or do you want me to go all the way up?
The part where you the Hello Kitty part.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So this just talks about the length of the string, and it prints out the number. Here, I'll even say it prints out the length in value. So it just prints out the actual value of how many characters is in there. The nice thing about strings, it's kind of one of those more universal variables. So it can print, if you are declaring a variable as a string, you can have integers in there. You can have doubles in there. So it does allow you to have different types of variable types in there, which is nice for strings. Versus if you declared a variable an integer, it can only return an integer. So you can only return a number. So you couldn't combine an integer and a string and then do a system printout line that's an integer or a number, because it won't recognize what a string is. And most people wouldn't probably code that way, but it's just an important thing to remember here. Okay, can I scroll up a little bit?
Okay. Yes, it's good.
Perfect. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to hit return. We're going to talk about lower and uppercase. Lower and upper. Lower and uppercase. I guess I could space that out. So, declare a string, folks. Anything you want. String. My. And I'm going to type something in there. So It doesn't have to be super long, but just you can type your name in there. You can type in something with letters, just because you can't have an uppercase and lowercase number. But something that has letters in it would be good. And then we're going to show you the lower to uppercase string operators here. So I might put, I'll put my name. Make sure you have that semicolon behind there. And then we're going to print it out. So system, that out, that print line. And then I have an opening and closing paren. Now I want to take that string and I'm going to make it all lowercase. So right now there's some upper, there's some lower. I'm going to make the whole thing lowercase. So I got to call upon my string variable. So the string variable is called my text. So I'm going to do my text. And I'm going to attach it by using the period or the dot. I'm going to attach it to the operator called to lowercase. So it's T-O, capital L, O-W-E-R, capital C-A-S-E. So my text, period, to lowercase. And I'll make this bigger. Oops, sorry. And then I need an opening and closing paren, and then another closing parenthesis. So just to show you here. This is saying, hey, whatever my string is, whatever's in my string variable called my text, I'm going to call upon it and I'm going to assign it to do some type of operation, some type of thing. And that type is going to be changing it to lowercase. And then you need an open and closing paren, and then a closing paren for that entire print, and then a semicolon at the end. So it's basically reading in the variable my text, and it's assigning, saying it needs to be all lowercase. Let's see if we run it. What happens? There it is. It's all lowercase.
Julian and Derek have to talk to you for a second.
Okay.
It says the message was not correct for that email. We tried it a couple different times. It's not working.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's for, does it ask for a Microsoft account or just in general?
It's to download and install the.
Yeah, we need to update Java. In order to do that, we need to re-download it apparently.
Can you guys take can you take a screenshot of what error you guys are getting when you put in? I just kind of need to see, because I didn't think you needed my actual email, but just needed my Microsoft account. But Stu, that's what you get when you have a laptop or a Windows. They make you ask you for a Microsoft account now, which is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, let me log into my Microsoft account here. I think I can do it from my computer. It's probably why all of a sudden I really start like using Apple. Okay, were you guys able to get all lowercase?
Derek's a little behind.
Okay.
He's almost done.
Okay. What you can do, folks, is after that, you can do a system out print line. Same thing, call upon your variable, and then attach it to something. Instead of to lowercase, guess what? It's going to be to upper case. So instead of lower, you're going to use the word upper. Same kind of way it's spelled with a combination of upper and lower cases. But if you want to go to the next line and do another print line where it's all uppercase versus lowercase, you can do that. And then we'll catch up. Okay, so I'm checking my Microsoft account here. Oh,
Anyone found the work? Okay, I do this.
oh, sure. Okay, I'm gonna reset it. Hmm. Okay, so let me.
Jeremy Cott's business model.
Okay, 958. Okay. So let's see what my password can be. Okay, guys, so then we got just a little bit more here. I'm working on it too, Derek. Okay. Derek, I'm going to send you the password if you're there.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing, please don't laugh. It's nothing too high tech. Try that. I just reset it. Okay, guys, so you can do uppercase as well. So I'm going to do system. Dot out. Dot print line. My text. At 2 uppercase. Open and closing paren. Make sure you have another closing paren and a semicolon. Let's hit run, see if it works. And there it's all uppercase. Sometimes that's nice if you create a program where it's not going to recognize upper and lowercase. Sometimes your program could have a hard time deciphering between an upper and lowercase word. So you might use 2 uppercase or 2 lowercase to make it all one case sensitivity or all one type of lower upper, just for ease of reading for your program. So that's something that we can do. In this example, we're just printing it out. Hopefully this worked for them. Okay, questions about upper and lower? Any questions, gentlemen, ladies?
I gotta help some
Okay.
error.
4. I'm going to make some comments here. Outputs. In lowercase. And then the next line, outputs in uppercase. How we doing, everyone? Good? We have had a lot of practice of printing things out and declaring variables, so that's good.
Can you go up?
Can I go up a little? Yeah. Good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like everybody's okay now.
Okay.
Mine is.
It's a lot of technical things you gotta type, and like I said, you're not gonna need to like memorize this kind of stuff for long-term use, because odds are you're not gonna always need to know like making things uppercase or lowercase or finding the length, but it's just good to know that they do exist and what they are. So since we're running out of time, we are gonna work on, I'm just gonna do a rundown of what we're gonna end up doing. You guys don't need to hand this in. You're more than welcome to, but this was just practice and a blank space for us to work. But if I go back to the classroom here and go to published or assignments, and I'm gonna change this because, or maybe I do have them due tomorrow. Tomorrow in class, we're gonna work on kind of the same things. We're gonna work on doing a substring and working on using strings and numeric numbers or numbers and how to combine those. So very similar to what we just did. So it'll kind of be a good practice or review. And then you guys are gonna have a challenge that basically creates more strings and then makes them shorter, that sort of thing. And that will be on your own. And I'm thinking you may even be able to get all of that done tomorrow if we have a work day tomorrow, even though I said it to be due on Thursday, but I'll see where we're at tomorrow. But that's kind of like what we're going to be looking at for Wednesday and possibly Thursday. We are at some point going to we're getting close to having user input, but where it's good to have some practice with these declarations of variables, just because it's something that just takes time to get used to and practice. But I'm thinking, is anyone going to be gone next week, like leaving early?
I think I am. I might be.
Okay, like a few days early, or by like Monday, Tuesday?
Are you gonna be here Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just trying to get an idea of how much new things we want to start and how much I just want to give you guys time to do some work, so that way if you're leaving early, you won't have to worry about making anything up. And if you're not leaving early, you can just kind of relax a little bit more the last week before spring break. So I'm just trying to get an idea before we start. I am going to say though, tentatively, I'd like to do a quiz before break sometime, just because I just don't want us to come back after break and be completely clueless of everything that we've done. Because I know you know this stuff, so while it's fresh in your mind, I'm going to say next week, Tuesday, we're going to have a quiz. And usually with computer coding and stuff like this, just because it's really technical, I usually have open note policy, but I'm gonna see, just because some of this stuff is pretty basic and I want you guys to know it. But so Tuesday we're gonna have a quiz. I don't think we have anything planned on Tuesday. I'll put it in Schoology just to give you a heads up. So there is no homework unless you're missing assignments. Check PowerSchool. Last night I didn't look at anything, so I will make sure I do that today. But I think I have mostly everyone's work. So I think that's it for today. We did a lot of practice. So like again, tomorrow we'll have some assignments and a challenge. It'll be a work day and we'll see how far you guys get tomorrow, but I will talk to you then.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, and then Mrs. Woolhoff, I'll talk to you later this afternoon.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye.